What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of How to Get Started Surf Fishing. This is the third episode in the series, and it's going to cover rigs. There's different rigs used for different things and different kinds of fishing. That doesn't mean that you're only going to get that particular species or size or whatever you're going for, but it will limit it on what you're trying to do. The first thing that everybody knows is a high-low rig. Sometimes they're called tree rigs. I call them a tree rig with two limbs. Just sits on the bottom, kind of like that. You've got one hook at the bottom, one hook at the top. Perfect for catching bait fish, shrimp, whiting off the beach. I don't really use that on the intercoastal as much. I use a similar setup when I'm catfishing, but that's freshwater, so we won't go over that. But typically when it comes to surf fishing, I'm going to use something similar to this for catching bait fish. Anything that I consider bait fish would be whiting, croakers, spots, trying to think of another, ladyfish, things like that. You'll catch a lot of baby sharks on this, especially if you've got 1/0, 2/0 hooks and some shrimp. You'll catch baby sharks on that all day long. But that's pretty much my rig for bait fish. So if you just want to get out there and catch fish, like I went over in the first episode, use that rig, fish bites, shrimp, that's all you need. Let's see, another rig that you guys have probably heard of is a sabiki rig. I keep this for the intercoastal or for the surf. I haven't used it in the surf for a while, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You got two things on the back there. One ties to your line, and then one goes to a weight. You pull it out, and it's got a bunch of these little feather things in there, and it tracks bait fish in there. Typically, these are used on boats or in clearer water. We don't have as much luck with that in Jacksonville because we don't have clear water. That being said, I have had luck with these off the coast, or I'm sorry, off the coast, off the beach, catching fish. And I've got my dog and cat in the background in case anybody's wondering. I, like most anglers that do this pretty frequently, tie my own rigs. And what that means is I get some line, some heavy test line. I've even got a rig box, as you guys can see here. But I typically tie my own if I'm feeling lazy or I'm just in a pinch, in a bind, I don't want to. You know, the stars aren't aligned, whatever you guys, want to say. I'll go buy some. And I buy them a lot more than I should, honestly, but I'm lazy. So first thing I did was, you can buy leader material, like fluorocarbon leader material, or even just monofilament leader material that say leader material, but I don't see the point in doing that because you usually only get like 100 yards and it's like 20 bucks, so I don't do that. What I do is, a lot of my leaders are made out of 50-pound mono. This is Zebco. I got it from Walmart for like $2, and there's 150 yards in here. You're only going to use half a yard, if that. I mean, you're gonna have a lot of scrap the first couple times you do it and tie it, but that's what I use to tie on my rigs and whatnot. Let's see what else. Shark rigs, I guess. This is one that I bought from Strike Zone. This is their shark rig, which I like their rig, but let me get it untied here. This is going to look very similar to a rig that I'm about to show you that I use and that I'm going to start using because I see it online all the time, and I'm just going to call it my big fish rig. That's all I'm going to call it. But with theirs, you can see they've got some wire cable to, I don't know, probably an 8/0, 9/0 hook, something like that. Going to a barrel swivel, crimped off to what feels to be, I'm going to guess, somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 150 pound monofilament leader material, and you've probably got, about 2.5, 3 feet of that, almost a yard of it. Going to a barrel swivel that you then tie onto you tie your line onto. The only downside to this rig, and most rigs, is it's got a slip sinker weight on it, and what that is just 2 beads. You don't see it, but that is actually this. So that holds your weight really right now. But the problem with this is when you're casting, you've got a big 12-foot rod, which is currently what I have on there right now. You cast this thing out there, and the weight does whatever it wants to, and then you start helicoptering it, and it's hard to cast. So while this isn't a bad rig, this is great in a pinch. I use it all the time. Not saying it doesn't work, because it does work, but in a pinch, I will use this if I've got time, like I did today. I will tie my own big fish rigs. Some of them I didn't have the correct size line for, or I'm sorry, correct size crimps for, so I had to kind of improvise, but we'll go with it. So this is my standard big fish rig, right here. Okay, this is what I'll throw off the beach. Looks pretty similar, right? Just a little shorter. And like this is like the whole length of the monofilament leader material. And what that is it's just a shorter distance for the weight to go. So when you throw in fish, if you throw it correctly, all your weight will be right here, as opposed to this, you know, stretched out 3-4 foot, and you're gonna have a hard time doing it. Plus, that's gonna be a lot easier to cast total off the beach than that massive. I mean, I think that's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of a 4 to 5 foot rig when it's all said and done. So this is a lot shorter. I've just got a 4/0 hook on there. I would put a chunk of whitings, a chunk of bait fish on there, probably about 1 inch long, you know, the tail piece, so not too big. You'll catch moderate to medium-sized sharks on that. Might catch a red on it if you put the shrimp on it, but I mean, I've caught reds on everything. I've caught a 36 inch or a 29 inch red off of a high-low rig just like that on a 1/0 hook and a little tiny piece of shrimp, so there's no guarantee on what you're gonna catch. This one, by the way, is tied together using the improved cinch knot or cinch knot. I mean, you can tie this if you don't want to buy crimps. That's a snelled hook, but if you do want to buy crimps and you want to go through crimping and whatnot, this is my shark rig. This is 50-pound mono. This is 100-pound mono. Similar concept, very, very similar concept, slip sinker weight. I got a little bit more leader material in there, but this is going to be an 8/0 Gamakatsu Octopus circle hook offset, and instead of having it tied on there, I've got it cinched on there. But these are 300-pound swivels. Yeah, 300-pound swivels, and I don't know what the hey. I'm recording a video. What are you doing? So, that's what I use off the beach. Now, for the intercoastal, I've had a lot of people ask me for this. You know, oh, what do you catch on the intercoastal, or what do you use on the intercoastal? This is what I'll use on the intercoastal. Something similar to this. This is a little heavier. How much weight is this? It's rubbed off. This feels like probably 3-4 ounces. That's what I'll use on the intercoastal. You got your hook down here. Very similar setup. And not as much, you know, room for the weight to move. But I'll usually use live mullet with this, whereas with those other two I just showed you, I'll use cut bait. You don't, if you're looking to catch a big shark, you don't need a massive chunk of bait. You don't need to throw out a whiting this big, because half it's going to get bit off and you're never going to get anything. If you really want to catch a massive shark and you want to throw something out on that, just get a chunk of croaker, a chunk of whiting, about that long, about that thick, just no bigger than the palm of your hand is typically what I'll do. And I've never had bad luck with that. And what are you doing? Sorry, distracted. I know. I'm getting even more distracted. So, let's see, whatever rigs haven't I gone over. You can buy like pre-made shark rigs and whatnot, which I've bought in the past, but these things are astronomically unnecessary. They really are. I bought, I think, 2 or 3 of these, and I used one of them, and I haven't opened up another one since because there is no point to it. There's really not. It's way too big. It's hard to cast. Unless you have an astronomically large rod or are great at casting, you're gonna struggle. Is the short answer. I mean, there's no reason for this. I'll show you guys as soon as I get this thing untangled. There we go. Okay. And keep in mind I'm 6'3", so that's a pretty. Am I in full frame? I'm in full frame. Yeah. So I'm 6'3". Keep in mind. There you go. That's my full wingspan. So, size of the hook on this thing is just way too much. You can use these. I've used these off the boat, but that's pretty much all I would use it for. I mean, even the barrel swivel on this thing is just ridiculous when it comes to fishing. Like, come on, man. Like, that's good God. But that being said, you can use these. I use them off the boat with. I have a drum reel similar to my Daiwa. And I think that's spooled with a 100-pound mono, so that's like a heavy-duty rig. But that's too much. Don't. I mean, the rigs are a lot like line. Don't go overpowered. You don't need a ton. You don't need a large, impact. You don't need you need a lot less than you think you need. Because I know I see a lot of people come out here, and I always joke around with my buddies whenever I go out to the beach and I'm fishing with my friends and I see them, because we call them people fresh out of Bass Pro. You know, they're decked to the nines with brand new fishing stuff, and they've got the beach carts, and they've got the rod holders with the bait attachments and a cup holder, and Bluetooth speakers and all this other jazz. But they're throwing stuff like this. You don't need something like this. I caught a 4-foot shark, 4.5-foot shark, on a high-low rig with 4/0 circle hooks and a chunk of whiting, no bigger than 2 inches. You don't need massive stuff to go with rigs. It just depends on what you're fishing for. So to recap in this video, I know this one's getting a little long. Bait fish, whiting, croaker, spot. You can catch black drum, red drum, stuff like that. Use the weight accordingly. If you're in the surf, use a sinker or a pyramid. If you're not in the surf, use something else. I'll go over that later. If you want something easy to tie and you guys want a tutorial on how to tie my big fish rig, if you guys are from the Carolinas or know anybody from the Carolinas, you probably recognize this because this is what they use up there a lot. But if you guys, if you guys want me to do a tutorial on how to, make one of these, I will do it. It's super easy. I'll give you just kind of a close-up view of it. I've got my phone over here with my GoPro. All right, so that's pretty much it. It's super easy. If you guys want me to do a tutorial, let me know. But once again, if you guys have any questions, any more information you guys want, you guys can always email me at 904fishingflorida@gmail.com. If you want to ask something down in the comments, feel free. The next episode is going to be, I've actually got a list of all this stuff. Let's see, we've done line, rigs, how to get started. So the next one's going to be, we'll go over reels next. Different kinds of reels and what they're used for, what I use them for. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of How to Get Started Surf Fishing. I will see you guys next time. Fish on. Oh, hi. Did you want to make an appearance? Come here. Come here. Did you want to make an appearance? Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Go. Go.